Welcome to Jaffa. Today we're going to tour the old city of Jaffa. Jaffa is a very ancient city. It exists for more than 5,000 years. I'm standing here in Jaffa's port. The port is the reason why Jaffa has always been such an important city, because Jaffa's port has always been the connection between the Middle East to the other side of the ocean. This is the connection between the Middle East to Europe. Jaffa is mentioned a couple of times in the Bible. For example, we know that Jonnah the prophet, when he tries to escape from God, the whale swallows him after he was thrown to the water, and the whale takes him to the shore of Jaffa. When King Solomon wants to build a temple, he wants to build strong woods. Where do you find strong woods in the area? In Lebanon. So King Solomon sends ships from Lebanon to take the woods all the way through Jaffa, and from Jaffa's port the woods will go all the way to Jerusalem, and he will build the first temple, the first Jewish temple in Jerusalem. So today we're going to tour this ancient city. It's going to be very cool. We have some very exciting sights. Yalla, let's go. Jonnah was sent by God to the people of Nineveh to give them a prophecy, but he did not want to do that, so he was trying to escape. He went on a boat, and when he went on the boat, the water started storming. So he realized that's because of him, and then he asked the people on the boat to throw him to the water. The moment they throw him to the water calmed down. And then the whale swallows Jonnah and vomits him in the shore of Jaffa. In the 19th century, the walls of Old Jaffa were no longer needed, and therefore the empire decided to build this square outside the walls of the Old Jaffa, and this was the main part of the city in the 20th century. Right behind me we have the clock tower. The clock tower was built by the Ottoman Empire to commemorate 25 years of the Sultan rule, and this was basically the first secular building to tell you what time it is. Up until then, if you wanted to know what time it is, you had to listen to the mosque prayer, or to the Jews, to the synagogue prayer, or to listen to the bells of the church. But this was the first secular building that shows you the time. One of the rich families that lived in Jaffa back then was the Jewish family of Joseph Moyal. And Joseph had a store here in this square. And the legend says that people kept, when they went off the train, after they came from Jerusalem, they wanted to know what time it is, so they entered his store just to ask him what time it is. And Joseph was so tired of people just keep asking him what time it is, that when the Ottoman Empire suggested to build a clock tower in the middle of Jaffa, he was very much happy to donate the money for this. The main square of Jaffa has had everything a person might need. The main market was here, money exchange, and yes, also the city hall. So what's behind me is what's left from the building of the city hall. And on the other side of the square, there is another historical building that today is one of the fanciest hotels in Jaffa. However, if you look closely at the building, you will see that it was not built as a hotel in the first place. No, when you look at the windows, you see that this was the prison. Yes, it was built as the prison of the Ottoman Empire, and it functioned as the prison of the British Mandate. And when Israel was established, it was still a prison, and only in the 60s, when the police moved out from this building, it was renovated as a hotel. If only the people that were here thought about maybe someday this will be one of the fanciest hotels of Jaffa, maybe they would want to extend their stay in the building. This is a story about one of the people who was in prison here when this place was still a prison, and this is Adolf Eichmann. You might have heard the name before. He was one of the commanders of the Nazis, and he was imprisoned and brought to trial in Israel. And the committee invited people to give testimonials, and for days over days they had to listen to the people sharing their story about what happened to them in the Holocaust. This was the first time for some of the people to share their stories. Up until then, we did not know what really happened in the Holocaust, but in the 60s, during the trial of Eichmann, this was the first time that people actually shared the story, and from then we know what happened to them during the Holocaust. Jaffa is built on a hill. Because it's a hill, we'll have to climb. Let's go. On the way, we'll see a couple of galleries. They're beautiful and each gallery is very unique. This one here is open right now, so we can go in and explore this gallery. This is Adina Plastelina art gallery. We're gonna go inside and meet Sami. Sami here, he is the owner of this place, and his partner Adi, she and him basically do together all of this beautiful artwork that we're about to see, and we will see how they do it. So they have a very special technique. By the way, the structure that we're standing in right now was built in the 11th, 12th century pretty much. So it's a very ancient, structure. And when they started excavating here, when they had the building in the first place, so they started excavating here and they found a lot of cool things, and they found that basically this structure itself was used as a sauna. And down here you can see the well, for example, the ancient well that was found inside the structure, and they have a showroom that is closed for renovations at the moment, but by the time that you will come to visit Israel, it will probably be open already. Masjid Al-Mahmudiah, or Al-Mahmudiah Mosque, was built here in the 19th century by the Ottoman Empire. It was built in the benefit of the people of Jaffa, and it is still nowadays one of the biggest mosques that are still active all over Israel. This is called the Sibil. It was filled with water in the benefit of the people, so they can come and drink, and obviously to wash their hands, their face, and their feet before they go inside the mosque for a prayer. From here we can see the rock that is called by the local people Andromeda's rock. According to the Greek mythology, Andromeda was a young, beautiful girl. Everyone fell in love with her, including the god of the ocean himself, Poseidon. And when he fell in love with her, he was very envious of the people who can marry her, but he cannot marry her. So he decided to bring a beast that will be at the entrance of the port, and it was lurking for the boats, and therefore no boat could go in or out from the port. So the people of Jaffa understood that they have to make a sacrifice, and they understood that the sacrifice has to be the young girl who did nothing bad, Andromeda herself. So they tied her to the rock over there, and she was sitting on the rock and waiting for the beast to come out from the water and eat her alive. And then the hero, Perseus, sees her, and he wants to save her. He swims all the way to the rock, he takes his sword, and he's waiting for the beast to come out from the water. And once the beast is coming, he kills the beast, and they live happily ever after. Not only synagogues and mosques we will find in Jaffa, but also a church. So this is a church that is dedicated to Saint Peter, and it commemorates a story that appears in the New Testament, a story about Saint Peter. He sleeps at his friend's house on the roof, on Simon's house, and in Jaffa, and in the night he has a dream. In his dream he's very hungry, and there is an angel coming and offering him from a plate. But this plate is filled with non-kosher stuff, so he says, "Thank you very much, but I'm a Jew. I only eat kosher, so I cannot eat that." And then the angel offers him one more time to eat from the plate, and he says, "Thank you very much, but I am a Jew. I only eat kosher food." And for the third time, the angel offers him from the plate, and then St. Peter wakes up. And he realized something very important. He understood that from this point on, this is no longer a small stream inside the Judaism world, because in the first years of Christianity, they saw themselves as actually Jews that brought something new to the world. But from this point on, he's not trying to reach only the Jewish people, but also the rest of the world. And this is one of the reasons why this church is directed towards west, towards the ocean, towards Europe. This hanged orange tree that Ran Morin has put here is an artistic monument that is here to remind us what was the main income of Jaffa during the 20th century. During the days of the British Mandate and the Ottoman Empire, the main income of Jaffa was Jaffa oranges. Jaffa oranges was #2 brand in the whole world. #1 brand, by the way, was the Spanish brand that eventually purchased Jaffa oranges. So today, if you eat a Jaffa orange, it's not coming from here, but it's coming from Spain. So what happened to all the oranges? Today, instead of raising oranges in Jaffa, we raise buildings.